The Comedy Store would like you to know that the views and opinions expressed on this podcast are strictly those of the speakers or authors and do not necessarily reflect or represent the views and opinions held by the Comedy Store and its affiliates.
Were easy together, that's all. And we were in there just like fucking around and trying to get laid. So he thought, all right, let's keep this going. And I was like, oh my God. And then he'd say to me like, hey, did you rehearse this weekend? And I was like, God. No, you took my scene partner to Hawaii.
Lucky scene partner.
Amazing. I was like, she wasn't here, so I can't do it by myself.
Wow. Well, he at least like
Goldblum's
lucky
great.
Scene partner. I mean, a lot of scene partners don't get that much.
We're good?
A lot of them get just half a night at the chateau.
Don't even get the good drugs over there.
You got that much? None of the gals are with me got that much. They got, where are we? That's where it is.
And
Your
Rob in the
apartment, my
closet.
apartment. Where is it? Yeah.
Felicia,
That's
nice. Oh, you're ready for your gig.
Yeah, I'm ready because I have a gig too.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
What you doing?
I'm at the Bourbon Room with Brazil and Tom Rhodes.
Nice.
Hang out.
The Bourbon Room? Where's that?
It's in Hollywood, off Hollywood.
I've heard of this
Something like
place.
that,
Didn't they use it during
look it up.
Netflix? Netflix is a joke?
I think they
What
did.
time's your show?
8.
Well, I may come over there.
Ooh.
My night kind of opened up. So
See? Exciting.
you
Well,
guys do your dance.
Yeah.
is it a dance? I like
It's
it.
what it is.
Yeah.
I always called it on stage. I always called it going up to do my monkey dance.
To do the monkey dance. Well, that makes sense. Yeah,
the
to do a
dance.
monkey
I just short at
dance.
the dance. Because she's not a monkey.
No, but I'm a monkey. I could
Yeah,
get
you're
up there.
I've done monkey shit before.
I've thrown shit at the audience. Or is that ape? I'm sorry. Did I mess it up?
No, that's a monkey.
The monkeys throw shit, right?
Yeah, monkeys throw shit. Chimps.
Yeah, so we're rolling.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think. I can't say I sat on the wrong side. Usually it's me and Rick on that side and the guest
He
here.
has 2 thumbs up. Hello, how are you?
That's Tony giving us the thumbs up. Welcome to the Comedy Store podcast. I was going to have Felicia as my guest co-host today because you've been on before.
I've been on
Felicia
before.
Michaels, very
Yes.
great Felicia Michaels. But Rick is in Paris right now opening for the great Chris Rock. So he's not here, so I'm flying solo-ish. Because
Yes.
Felicia's going to help me finally interview a real comic that we've had on in the past, but he didn't get a word in edgewise. Because we put him on with a certain somebody that we'll bring up.
No,
But-
because like Beetlejuice, he will appear.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. You know what?
Don't
You're
say
right.
his name 3
Don't
times.
say his name. Ritch Shydner. Listen, I'm like so excited that you're here and that I was like, oh my God, I got to get Felicia. Because you guys just did Vegas together, right?
Well, no, I just got over COVID, and so I'm glad we're in the small room. But so I had to cancel. And I'm all negative, but I had to cancel that week, and I was very bummed.
We were all bummed.
Yeah, because I was going to drive up with Alan Bursky, and
That's once. That's
one.
You said it once.
okay, don't say it. I
It's a
won't say it
drinking
again.
game, guys.
I'll say it in a different way, and then but I was excited though at least because last night we did a show here called Age Against the Machine, and Ritch was on it, and he was so hilarious. You know what I love? I love when like when some of the OG regulars come back, right? And I love that Frank Castillo like snuck up into the belly room and just sat in the back and just wanted to watch you. Like when stuff like that happens, it's so
beautiful.
exciting. Yeah.
Because last night, yes, that show, by the way, great idea.
Oh, thank you.
Because a lot of times the older comics will say, or OG comics, but I don't even want to say older because
Yeah.
I'm old. Like, I don't give a shit.
I know, because we're the older comics now.
I'll be dead soon. I might die by this podcast, and I don't know. But, like, you know, I'm saying, like, comics that have been around, the OG Comedy Store comics.
Originals, yeah.
That are phenomenal comics, right? But, you know, they don't get booked for whatever reason. They're on the road. They're, you know, doing cruise ship, whatever they're doing.
Well, sometimes things change. You move to New York, you start doing cruise ships, you start doing this, you start doing Vegas, you start, you know, you're on a show. Like,
it never makes them not funny.
Oh, exactly.
Because funny always stays.
It does. Sometimes it fades, though.
Not
you see,
unless it wasn't ever there. I think
that may be true too. But I think mainly is the audience has changed, so they want to see people close to their own age up there. It's just natural.
They want somebody
generation
they
does.
can relate to.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's about.
But you have kids.
And I'm not saying we can't do it, but
Yeah.
you want a more steady diet of younger comics. And let's face it, you're also looking for what's the next.
What's the
Who's
next?
the next?
Who's filling the seats?
Right,
Because
right.
they turned
Exactly.
it into a business.
And right.
So, but to see that show.
No,
But
this was great.
explain
This was
Eddie
great.
Pepitone, though.
Oh my God,
Phenomenal.
Eddie's
I know.
Eddie's a
He's a
phenomenal.
genius, yeah.
He's
Phenomenal.
He's an anomaly.
But
really.
also, you think so. I watched you guys last night.
Yeah.
I saw like a few Retha Jones, great
Yeah,
comics,
yeah.
intermixed with
Absolutely.
whatever. And then I went downstairs. I was watching the OR. I was thinking of going on in the OR, and then I was like, you know what? I already did the main room. Don't be a pushy, whatever. Don't be a stage whore. You're already an off stage. And so I was like, just be cool, And so Leslie Jones went on, great. Then at about midnight, I was walking out, and out of nowhere, George Wallace pulls up.
I saw a picture.
He slayed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He
In
went
the
on at
OR?
12:30 in the
That's
OR.
great.
Oh,
That's
wow.
great.
Absolutely destroyed. I was
great.
like,
I just saw him randomly in some airport like 2 weeks ago. He was like such a cool little random, like George Wallace.
He's still moving around a lot.
Yeah.
Seems like he's
I know
everywhere.
he's doing a movie. He's
Right.
like, yeah, I'm doing a movie. I'm like, great. Yeah. I was like, you want to go on because it's potluck. It's not like a real lineup,
Yeah.
a regular lineup, I should say. Like, you can bump people on that night. It's
Right.
it's the night to do it.
More loose, yeah.
Yeah, it's looser. So he was like, oh, can I? And I'm like, what? Yes,
Yeah.
of course. And he went right up. He killed. It was great. And Frank was in there, like in the back.
Oh, yes.
So it's all the
yes.
comics came in and even the waiters and
Yeah.
waitresses came in and
great.
sat down. And I was like,
That's how you can tell when the young guns
They
are
respect it.
more serious,
Mhm.
that you respect them more because they really want to learn from the originals that were here. They really want to see it and place it contextually within their historical reference of comedy. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
but you're still out doing
Oh no,
stand-up?
I love doing it.
every night?
And
Okay.
I feel like, that I can still do it and still get laughs and it's fun. So I keep doing it.
And
somebody asks me, when are you going to retire? I go, retire from what?
Yeah, right.
I do what I love. So I'll do it
great.
one thing or another.
Yeah. But you did take time off, though, from
Well,
doing it. Yeah.
I did, and it cost me, really.
When-
Comics
when-
always talk about what we give the audience, but we rarely talk about what we get from this.
Yeah.
And it's really a total calibration for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mental, emotional, spiritual. And I stopped doing it, and I got depressed, and I gained weight, and I ended up in UCLA psych unit. Seriously.
Oh, shit.
Seriously. I mean, it was like I just stopped doing it, and I didn't realize what it meant to me.
When you say you stopped doing
I stopped
it
doing stand-up comedy.
for
The
I know-
live performance, hearing that live laughter, it is the most powerful drug for me. And the comics know that. I remember talking to Greg Giraldo when we did I Am Comic.
Wow.
He talked about the you can feel the laughter in your bones. You can feel it.
Yeah.
Right? You can feel it. And that's what it is for, I think, the true comic anyway.
Yeah, because it's like it's a validation that you're okay because
Immediate
you're saying the most
gratification.
fucked up thing that you would never share with your best friend. That's so crazy. And then when you share it with strangers and they laugh, it's like, okay, I'm not insane. Other people are thinking this too.
That's right.
So it's a
Or it's-
validation.
And there's that
Yeah.
uncut approval. It is
Yeah.
pure
Well,
approval.
it's attention, good or bad, because sometimes it can go really bad or phenomenal, and
there's no-
sometimes it's like that.
There's no but or
Right.
there's no criticism hidden in the compliment. It's just pure approval.
Yeah.
The laughter is, and it can't be faked.
Right.
It's just pure. Like you just know it's like this is true approval.
Did you-
for that joke, for that moment,
Yeah.
Right?
that time on stage?
Did you take a break for a reason?
Well, I started writing for
Writing.
TV.
Okay.
And I had kids, so I went where the money was to stay home and have a writing
Be in
career.
their lives.
Right, and be in their lives.
Well, tell us what you wrote on, Rich. Let the audience know.
Tell him, Richie.
Roseanne,
Yes.
Jeff Foxworthy Show, Titus, Becker.
Becker.
These were the
See,
shows.
I love Becker.
Yeah, these are the shows that I got a chance to do something with and
Yeah.
keep and stay. And then I was writing for other comics too, so writing material for them. So it just gave me and Mine and a Married Man on HBO with Mike Binder.
Oh, we loved it.
Yeah.
I say we because I was with somebody at the time. We would watch it every night.
Yeah.
I mean, was
Yeah.
it on every Sunday? It was our
Yeah,
favorite
that's
show.
right. That's right. So those were like great I could stay home and teach,
Sure.
Well, I coached the girls in softball. That was like the best thing for me. That was I
love
became that
that.
guy. I became dad for sure, man.
Were you
see,
like an
that's-
agitated coach, though? Were you that guy?
I was the coolest one.
Oh,
They loved
okay.
me. I was the funniest. I
believe that.
And I let everybody play. I remember these parents come up to me, they go, why is my girl playing in the outfield all the time? She's only there this inning. She's going to rotate around. They all rotate around. Well, I feel like she's going to be a second baseman at UCLA. I said, let's just teach her how to hold the bat first. How about that? How about we just go with the swing first?
A second
They're already
baseman at
lining up
UCLA.
scholarships in their mind. You know how
Wow.
parents are, right?
Yeah.
Right? And then they come out and I'd be like, nah, you ain't going to play. Not with me. But we did win championships. Right?
But by the way, rotating them
Yeah.
is the best teach you could ever.
It's it. They
It's
want
the scariest thing. My coach did that to me for years,
Right.
and I became an all-star softball player because of it.
And we come to the
really?
playoffs,
Oh, yeah.
and guess what? The best girls played at their best positions, right? Come time for playoffs, so we wanted to win,
Yeah.
Right. So but during the regular games, you find out who can pitch,
Yeah.
right?
I wanted to be Mike Schmidt. And a lot of people were like, you're not. I was like, what? Tell that to whomever. Right? Then I would act like a boy, and I played third base, and then I had a wild arm, so I went to first base, just like Mike,
She's very physical. Have you ever seen her a little clip when she was in the ring, the
Oh,
wrestling
yeah, I
ring?
was a
were you-
wrestler.
were you?
Oh
Wow,
my
women
God,
of
Rich,
wrestling.
you got to go look it up.
Oh, I'll
it's
look
so
it up.
fucking
Really?
funny.
But I need you to keep your pants on.
You're
She
asking
dropped
a lot.
She drop kicked someone. I hope they put that little clip in this when
With Cher, yeah. I mean, Caged Heat, yeah.
Yeah.
She wrote on there, how did I live through this? And I was like,
So you had
how
a-
did either one of us
Oh, you
live
can't.
through this?
I can't even do justice to
Okay.
what Eleanor did to this chick.
Well, here's the thing. I went to an audition, and this is like my favorite thing with my mom because I was such a tomboy. And where we grew up in South Philly, I played everything. Baseball, football, you name it.
Yeah.
Like I played softball
Yeah.
and baseball, hardball, I played football. I was a quarterback, like crazy, right? I really wanted to be a boy. And I remember the Phillies, they would come to our neighborhood because they wouldn't go to the projects. They were like, oh, let's go to this one right in the middle. Let's go right here, So they would come in our neighborhood, and it was a few kids. If you were good enough, they would let you like have a catch with them. And Tug McGraw was, and I'm throwing the ball, and he goes, yo, this little boy's got an arm. And I'm like, it's working.
Did you have a short haircut?
Oh, yeah. I cut my
really?
ponytail off because it was giving me a headache in my football helmet.
Did
So-
you have older brothers?
I have 6 brothers and 3 sisters.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So I have 5 older brothers.
Gotcha.
Only 1 baby that I still call a baby, and he's like, I'm not a baby. I'm like, okay. But anyway, so growing up, I wanted to be an actress. My mom wanted to be an actress. So when I went to this audition, it was for Wow Women of Wrestling, and I called my mom. I go, Mom, don't get mad. I'm going to take this job. It's a wrestling job. And I know I've told this story before, but I didn't tell him. Okay, relax. So I call her up. I go, don't get mad. It's a wrestling show. She's like, oh, I'm so excited for you. And I go, really? And she goes, yeah, they have great women characters on that show. And I'm like, I was on a cell phone. It was 1999. I'm like, I'm going to call you when I get home from a landline. Because I was like, there's no way she knows what I'm saying. And I got home. I called her from a landline. My sister Karen answered. She goes, yo, you're going to be on West Wing?
Oh, so well, anyway, the drop kick is phenomenal.
That's cool.
Well,
That's cool.
so she was like embarrassed. She was like, I can't believe it. She told everybody
Oh,
in the
really?
family, in the neighborhood, that I was going to be on West Wing.
My mom did that too. Like the first time I met Robin Williams, I called my mom up on the phone. This had to have been like 1987, 88. Like that's how fucking long ago it was. And she told everyone that in my little town of 7,000 people, that I fucked Robin Williams. And I was all like, what are you doing, Mom? She would do so.
Were you going to be on a show, or did you fuck Robin
No,
Williams?
I just met him once here, like at the store. I think in La Jolla when they had the anniversary thing. I was like, I
That's
met Robin Williams.
So
I came to
funny.
town a celebrity. 6,999 people thought I was something special.
They had a parade for you. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. Like, woo, woo, woo. My mom was like embarrassed because she was like, "Ugh, you're such a tomboy. Why can't you be a girl?" And so when she thought I was going to be on West Wing, this was
Right.
so. When it was wrestling, she's like, "Ugh." She goes, you went from fighting in the streets to now you're fighting on TV. How embarrassing, you know? And so I was doing it, and then she started watching it, and she's like, yo, your kicks are off. I'm like, oh my God. So then I got better because I was like, I'm embarrassing my mother.
Right.
I better do it properly. So I got really good at wrestling.
She did.
At wrestling.
Yes, she
Your
did.
mother and I probably had the same favorite female wrestler.
Oh,
The Fabulous Moolah.
I love the Fabulous Moolah.
Was that a real person?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And the woman
She
who
was the
trained
best,
us
man.
was trained by her.
Oh, that's
Selena
great.
Majors loved the Fabulous Moolah,
Oh, I
and
loved
she
her.
speaks of her highly. And I believe she passed away a long time ago,
Yeah.
but there was some like wild stuff around her. Like she had some discrepancies around
She
her
had
life.
a few discrepancies.
Yes, okay, thank you.
She came down to our town in a personal appearance. She had quite a few
Well,
discrepancies.
a lot of people stood up for her. A lot of people did.
What are you guys
Yeah.
fucking talking about? Tell us the personal
This is a wrestling
discrepancy.
thing. This is none of my business. Please don't drop kick me. So yeah, I feel like she'll haunt us. Like I don't want to get involved, but I don't know the full story behind it. I just know there was a thing, and my friend Selena was part of the whole pro. She was a good person, blah blah blah, and she was her mentor.
Yeah, as a kid, I loved professional wrestling, and then I ended up being a wrestler in high school and college. And
Wow.
so that's how I got
one
involved
of
with Andy
those
Kaufman. What?
wrestlers. One of those wrestlers. So not real wrestling.
Yeah, you had a circle.
You had to cut weight and all that
You had to
kind
wear
of
a
crap.
singlet. I wore jeans.
Hey, now I'm
See?
imagining it. Huh?
There was some guy who had a joke. I can't remember what it was. He had a good joke. He goes, "Yeah, I wrestled in high school until I got an erection.
Oh,
I had to quit."
That's hilarious. My dad took me to a wrestling match once as a kid, and I got to watch a fella wrestle a bear
ooh.
for a beer.
That's not a wrestling
bear
match.
would wrestle for a beer. Did you see that?
No, we did it.
Oh, really?
Wilmington,
what?
Delaware. Yeah, they
Oh,
come around. It was a
Delaware.
carny act. It was a carny act. So it was an old bear with a muzzle on it, right? And we're all young and tough and thinking, we'll do it, right? Anybody could stay with the bear for like 5 minutes, would get $100 or something.
Right.
The muzzle's
You
the least
cannot-
of your worries.
That's no, it had no claws or anything.
Oh,
but
okay, they
it
did
would
claw-
just grab you and you go, "Oh my God!"
A bear hug.
Nothing grabbed me this strong. They really, it would just stand up and
Squash your whole body
yeah, you go to
together.
a scrawny little 140-pound, just grab you, go, "Oh my God, stop him, stop him!"
Where
They're
are you
half
from
drunk anyway.
originally?
Pennsville, New Jersey, a small town in South Jersey. So
Okay.
I'm in the Philly
Yeah, you're
orbit.
close,
in
right
the Philly
over
orbit.
the
Yeah.
right over the bridge.
Right over
Why don't
the
you
bridge.
explain to people, because I find it fascinating, like your journey into comedy and through all the rock and roll shows that you did. Yeah.
Did a ton of them, man.
Yeah.
That's all there was. When I got hooked into the
Sure.
Silver Productions in Washington, D.C., there were no comedy clubs. This is 1977, 78.
Okay.
So then they would give me, because it's so easier for them to put me on stage for $50, or then they started paying me $100. Instead of on a local band, they pay $500-$600. They got to change
gotta
stuff.
pay
They just go,
everybody.
use that mic. So, and then Rich Hall, he came through town and he was doing it too.
awesome.
So I've got a lot of work. In fact, a lot of my early stage time was opening up for rock bands, jazz bands. And I learned a lot, and it was wild. It was great stories.
Did you do strip clubs?
I did one time.
Okay.
And in fact, it was the same place that, Kenny Kramer, the original Kramer from the Seinfeld show, he did it too. And I walked over, it was like right around the corner from where I lived in D.C. And I said, well, somebody said, they got a comedian over there. And so I watched some guy, it was like I walked in one night and some guy was on stage, like 40-some-year-old degenerate. I'm like 23, 24. So I go, I could do comedy. I want to do comedy. The guy puts me up. First of all, I didn't have any material.
Oh, wow.
I really didn't know any old jokes. And they just yanked me off in 2 seconds, man. I mean, this is just no way.
Yeah.
No way.
It's a
and then
tough
of course,
crowd.
And I didn't want to be there. I was like, I'm just looking for stage time anywhere. I did it one time. My guy who was like we would just go anywhere. So my friend who was sort of like my ad hoc agent goes, fellow law school student, he says, that their place down at the Gay Cabaret has got a talent night down in Southwest Washington. Now we don't realize gay. We're thinking like Flintstones, gay old time. That's how out of it we were.
Shut up.
Right? Yeah, seriously. So we go down there.
Oh, heaven.
Yeah, right? Like, or the gay 90s from 1800s. So we get down there, and the gay
And
guys
you were a
there-
law school student?
Law school student.
Wow.
From
That
small-
seems kind of,
right?
that seems
school
weird.
is that?
I'm
It just didn't,
uncomfortable.
it didn't click, man. It didn't click.
That's very funny.
So we
though.
get down there, and he's very nice. The manager says, "Listen, fellas, normally, and talent night, right? But once a month we do ladies' night again we doubled down on our stupidity. Ladies' night, this is going to be perfect. We'll be the only guys there. And we were the only guys there. And so, I walk on stage. I'm a swinging dick, 24-year-old. I walk on stage. And these women, I'm exactly the guy they're trying to avoid ever interacting with. And I froze, you freeze a crowd, I knew. He said, I'm like trying to get my stuff. Finally, I said something to get it. And this is not a long time. This is like within minutes.
Yeah.
The temperature went down.
It feels like a million hours,
right.
but it goes.
It went down. And my friend said, you go, well, I guess I'm your worst nightmare. I get a laugh. And again, I'm so stupid and so new at it. I think, oh, they want me to do more. I start talking again. A woman from the audience. Now this I remember. She stands up, doesn't say a word, walks to the stage, takes me by the elbow, and leads me off. It was not a word said. Leads me off, just walks me out of the room, and shuts the door behind me. And that was that. Mercy killing.
That is,
Euthanasian comedy.
that's amazing.
Yeah, but I'd go anywhere and do anything. So the rock and roll things were like not a problem because
But there wasn't as many comedy clubs.
there weren't any comedy clubs.
Yeah.
There was the New York City had, as far as I didn't even know that for a year until I was doing it for a year.
Oh,
and a friend
wow.
of mine, she's from law school, said, they have these comedy clubs up in New York City, and took me up there, and that's where I saw like Seinfeld and a bunch of people performing.
Is that where you obviously
And then I went there.
got into clubs and stuff?
Well, the first East Coast paying comedy club was in Washington, D.C. called Garvin's.
Okay.
And it opened in January '79, and I became immediately, because I've been doing it for like 2 years, I became the house MC immediately.
Oh, wow.
And then they were bringing guys down from New York City and some from L.A., and that's where I met them, and they were like, you got to move to New York, and I moved to New York.
Well, say some of the bands that you did open for. I know you're like, it's
Plasmatics, the Ramones,
Ooh.
all these punk bands, all that.
I like the
Little
Ramones.
Feet. I wrote one for Rick Danko. Rick Danko was from the band.
Who's Rick Danko?
Rick Danko was a bass player and a singer for the band.
It's called The Band?
They're called The Band. And they were a big
Sorry,
group.
I don't know who they are.
Big group in the late 60s and
That's
70s.
how I felt about
You ever see The
female
Last
wrestler,
Waltz?
Miss Moolah, whatever the fuck her name is.
Sorry.
Did you ever see The Last Waltz?
I don't
It's a
think
great
so.
rock and roll movie. Okay, it's called The Last Waltz. Right? And so they did this like movie, and the band broke up. And then Rick Danko comes out to play this place called the Bayou in D.C. It was like a 500-seater. So it was like where you went at the mid-level, 500-seater. And so I'm opening act. I'm really excited because I was a big band fan. He's like an hour and some late. The band are not there. The place is packed. It's only one show.
Okay.
First stop on his tour after breaking up. So they go, so the guy comes over to me, Dave Williams, who was the Cellar Door production guy, says, got a choice. You can go on now, right, and perform while they're setting up the equipment, or wait till they set up and then do your set. And I go, I was smart enough to know I'll go while they're setting up, because once they set up, they're only going to want to see Danko. So the roadies are setting up. I come out there and I start interviewing the roadies and screwing around, and the audience is just building on me. They don't even think I'm a comic. I don't realize this later.
Yeah.
And then I do my material in between talking to I'm interviewing people in the audience, and I'm getting big.
You're doing crowd work without doing.
Yeah, I'm doing crowd work without doing. And then I finished with this like 5-10 minute hunk I had about going to rock concerts, which was perfect. Kill. I mean. You enjoyed Rick Danko. I walk off. People are handing me joints, stuff and Coke in my pocket.
Wow.
Handing me drinks. I walk back to the dressing room. Rick Danko's manager's there. You're going on tour with us, man. I've never seen anybody take over a room like that since Steve Martin. You're with us, man. Come here. And he grabs me, goes back. The band guys are like, this guy's hilarious. And Danko's, they take me back. There's a big plate of cocaine. Go at it, man. Go at it. There's beautiful girls back there. I go, I'm in showbiz, man. Like, I'm snorting up. I'm drinking. Danko goes on stage. He's all effed up, man. I don't realize it. He walks on stage. The band starts playing. This is called Stage Fright, which is one of my favorite songs. They start playing the beginning of Stage Fright, which he sings. He goes, you fuckers ain't ready to rock and roll. And he just drops his trowel, moons the audience, and walks off. Now, the band, they're guys that just started playing with him. They don't know if he's fucking around or not. He walks back. He comes right past us into the dressing room. The manager goes in after and comes back a second later and goes, go hold him. Stuffs like some money in my pocket. Go hold him. I go, I'm your man. I go back on stage. Now,
Oh, boy.
they don't want to see me again. I come back out, and they're like booing, and I don't have any material left.
Yeah.
I'm too fucked up to even remember a George Carlin bit. I'm doing like Robert Klein setups and George Carlin punchlines.
Hilarious. That's amazing.
And they start throwing things at the stage, hold drinks, because they're back in the day. So glasses are flying, and fucking drinks are flying, and everything's. And I'm behind a drum kit now, like thinking I'm being funny, narrating it like it's a war. We got incoming here, a lot of drinks flying in here, but waiting for a joint because somebody right. And
That's great.
And I look up, and the guy in the sound booth is like, "Get out of there! Get out of there! Like just get out of there!" People are crawling up the stage, and the security's pushing them back. They're coming. So I come off. Dave Williams, he's a big guy. He grabs. He says, "No sense you walking through that crowd again, my friend." And he kicks open the side door. He has an emergency exit and pushes me out and says, "We'll be using you again. Don't worry." And just close the door behind me. And I'm standing out. It's raining now. I'm out in the alley, raining. Right? It's like a B movie. I go. I just had the full showbiz ride, man. I'm going on tour, and now I'm out in the fucking rain in an alley.
You got kicked out? Oh, you got booed?
hilarious.
That's amazing.
Yep. Never heard from the manager again.
Oh, you didn't go on tour with that?
That's messed up.
Where did that take place?
At the Cellar.
The
it was
Cellar,
not the
right.
Cellar Door. It was Cellar Production. It was called the Bayou. They had like 3 venues. So one was like a couple 100-seater. Like I saw Warren Zevon there the first time, and then Ronstadt. So they come there when they first come out. Then they go up to the Bayou. Then they'd go to the bigger theaters, and then the Capitol Center was like
Got
the
it.
DC, 15,000-seater. It was just a 500-seater. Eddie Murphy did his Delirious special there.
Oh, okay.
It was a great room because it was tight. I mean, I can show you a picture, but they had balconies, so the audiences were
So it's like
right
stadium
on top, like
seating.
Shakespearean.
Yeah.
They were right on top.
Yeah,
of
I
it.
like that.
Like up like a cylinder. You're in the middle of a cylinder, and the stage was right there.
That's great. So who did you go on tour with, if not them?
Did you go on tour with anybody?
I did like in '85. I did like a bunch of dates with Little Feat again. I'd opened them for them years before, and then I did '85.
That's
I did
a great
and
name.
this like this. So we're on tour. So Saturday night, I'd forgotten that Kennison was coming on. That they were doing the HBO Young Comedian special with Rodney. I thought that was going on Saturday night. So we do a show, and then the next day we're going to get in the van and take off, to go do another place. Everybody comes out in the van the next morning. All the guys in the band were going, They were all doing Kennison impressions.
Wow.
And I went, oh, he's fucking gone, man. He's rocketing.
Oh, did you know him already?
Oh, I knew him. I partied with him.
Yeah.
I knew him and everything. I mean, we were friends. I mean, he helped me at the store here. I mean,
How long before
he
you
brought
came
me
out
into
to L.A.?
I moved out here in '82.
Oh, okay.
January '82, and I became friends with Sam. And then, when he said, I was already set at the Improv. He said, you got to play here too, man.
Yeah.
So within a month or two, he said, you got to audition for Mitzi. And I was there when she was doing the Crystal thing,
Always funny.
Right? Always funny. Always a good act.
What color was your aura?
I don't remember my aura, but it was there. It was there.
People are like, Mitzi's the guru of comedy. I'm like, Mitzi's crazy.
I was like that.
Shit crazy.
I love
her every minute of her.
yeah.
She's haunting this place.
yeah,
I talk shit about her. I do impressions of her. She doesn't care. But it is the funniest thing to me when somebody is like, well, your crystals are off.
Oh yeah. And I'm
Remember, she made Jack Grayman, and she called him Jackie Banana, and that he had to wear a yellow suit.
She'd come in the main room. I'm waiting tables, and she'd go, "Where's his jacket?" and the whole place, I'd be like, "I'll get it."
Oh, and it's the perfect guy to do that.
Poor thing.
I mean, there's nobody less
And he's just backstage,
banana.
like, "God damn it!"
He had such a great face, Jack Grayman.
Oh my
Such a
God.
great face.
What a nice guy, like a sweet guy. Like this poor, he just wanted to do jokes.
Oh, but he was hell bent for destruction, man.
Yeah.
Oh, was he?
There's a
I didn't know
legendary
him.
stories about him.
Sweetest guy to me. Like I
he
started
was
here in
very sweet to me.
'93, so I met that guy who he left shortly after.
Yeah,
When I got to New
sweet
York,
guy.
there's a legendary story that all these stories you hear immediately. Catch a Rising Star in New York in the '70s. Apparently, like a big audition, like Johnny Carson dropping in. It might have been the one where David Say got discovered, right? So like
David who?
David Say got discovered
okay.
like at Catch a Rising Star in New York by Johnny. Johnny happened to be in New York, comes by the club.
This is going to sound awful, but I don't know who that is.
Johnny Carson?
No.
Yeah.
That was it.
I got it.
That was
I gotta
hilarious.
take that shot.
that, right?
Gotta take that shot.
His crystals are off.
The crystals. David
what you
Say.
get.
David Say was a New York comedian.
David
and if you can YouTube it.
Okay.
His 1977 shot was like boom.
Funny guy. Okay.
Carson leaves his desk, goes over to Say.
Okay, so
This
he's
guy's
a
gonna
comic.
be a star.
Good. Oh, nice.
Okay.
Cut to Eleanor. I don't know.
Exactly. And there are other reasons for that which we won't get into now.
Okay.
But this is a Jack Grayman story.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay.
This is what I heard. That they're going to, all the A hitters of the club are going to get a chance to go in front of Johnny. So Grayman's going to go on. And before he goes on, Rick Newman, who owned the club or ran the club, says, Jack, whatever you do tonight, don't do your wings joke. Don't do your wings. Paul McCartney band, right? Don't do that joke. Well, that's a red flag in front of a bull.
Yeah.
Walks on stage. What do you call a pig with wings? Linda McCartney. Paul McCartney and Linda McCartney stand up in the middle of the crowd and walk out.
No.
It was a tight, small room. It was always well lit. You could see everybody because Bells like to do crowd work.
dead.
And the crowd was dead for the next 4 acts. The next 4 acts bit it. You know what I mean?
But that's just like one time here, Larry Scarano was on stage and Sean Penn was in the crowd and he unloaded on Madonna. And it was like, everyone's like, don't do the Madonna jokes. But this just once again.
Yeah, right.
Did
What they
Sean
do.
get mad or did he
Yeah,
just.
they got pissed.
Oh, okay. I feel like Sean would sit there and be like, and, like just kind of play devil's advocate. But
It ain't just Will and Jada. There are a lot of celebrities who don't like to be run down.
that's weird, isn't it?
Isn't it weird?
But then why come out? No,
Yeah.
but why didn't somebody tell Jackie that they were there?
Tell who?
Jackie
Jack
Grayman.
He told him. I just told you. Rick Newman
Oh,
told him,
he's-
don't do that joke.
no,
But
no.
he said,
Don't do the joke is one thing.
Yeah.
Don't do the joke because
He might have
Paul's
actually
gonna
told
be
him
here.
too. I don't know.
Is a whole nother
I don't.
subject.
I don't know.
Wow.
But there's a reason. I'm not sure you told him or
I
not
mean,
told him.
it's Paul
Yeah.
fucking McCartney.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't
by
know.
the way, as soon as you said the joke, I knew it because he was still doing it when I started. in 93. With or without the banana. So I don't know what the correlation was.
a joke
but
that hateful, you don't drop overnight.
You're not wrong.
now let me ask you this. So like, does it surprise you that from having started comedy, not really knowing that much about it, you were at the forefront in certain ways, that you are like a very knowledgeable person about the history of stand-up comedy. Like,
100%.
are you so surprised by that turn of events for yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I got embarrassed a few times when I first started about how ignorant I was. You know that story about Maury Amsterdam.
What do you mean?
I met Maury Amsterdam. He was over at Cantor's one night. We were over there drinking and eating, and I see Maury Amsterdam at another table. So we were all full of ourselves, Hey, Maury, how you doing?
Time
Maury
out.
Amsterdam, again, was a big-time comic back in
Thank you.
the day. He wrote for Will Rogers. Now, if you don't know who Will Rogers was, one of the greatest American humorists. He wrote for him when he was a teenager.
Wow.
And then he became a guy who had his own TV shows when they first started TV in the late 40s and 50s.
Okay.
He was a stand-up comic, and he was on he played Buddy Sorrell on the Dick Van Dyke Show, which is a Carl Reiner's
Giant.
huge
Yeah.
hit show in the early 60s.
Okay.
So this is like 1982, 83. We go over to talk
this is
to
a
him.
big deal.
Yeah, big
This-
deal. And he's
okay.
in his 70s now.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
okay, that makes the
That's
story
just to
even
set how
better.
old the guy was. He's older than I am right now. Hard to believe.
Shut up.
Yeah, so we go over and we're like, hey, we're young comics. He's like, I go over to Bud Freeman's place. It's fantastic. Love what you do over there. Yeah, but we don't do jokes like you guys did jokes. We talk about real things, our lives. Oh yeah, tell me one of those things you do. I told him one of my jokes. He goes, that was done by Ricky Craig Jr. 1929. Every time we told him a joke, he told us who did it and when. Same version. He said, the only ones you might fool me on are maybe some of the drug jokes, but most of those that can be translated in that booze
That's
jokes,
right.
But other than that, pretty much it's all the same, right? So that, and I had another experience where I was over at when I first came out here, the evening at the Improv, to do Evening Improv in the fall of 81, we're at the Tropicana Hotel. Now, the Tropicana used to have Duke's restaurant right there.
Right.
Oh.
Right? And it was
It's
famous
on
rock
Santa
and roll
Monica,
hotel.
right?
Right. It was on Santa Monica, famous rock and roll hotel.
Oh,
famous.
a hotel. Because
Right?
I'm thinking
Hotel
of Duke's
Tropicana.
up on Sunset.
Yeah,
but
and Duke's was the restaurant there.
But that
The
was
little
the
restaurant.
Duke's, but it was
Original- got it.
originally
Right.
in the right?
right.
Yeah.
I
So-
missed that place.
so
Duke's
I-
was good.
Duke's was great. So I got a leather jacket, a motorcycle jacket, and I've got t-shirt and jeans and a kind of longish hair. And I go in there to have breakfast one morning, and sitting at the counter is Tom Waits. Now, I'm a Tom Waits fan.
That one you don't have to
107.
explain.
Okay, Tom Waits.
At least to me.
So I'm not used to Hollywood. I don't have the cool, I'm hungover, and I just go, Tom Waits. Like I blurt it out, right? And I go sit down, and he brings his plate over and sits down. What band you in? I go, no, I'm not a band. I'm a stand-up comedian. Now, most times back then, you tell somebody you're a stand-up comedian, they go, oh.
Tell me a joke.
Oh, my, no. You go, never met a stand-up comic before. He goes,
Wow.
he's like, really? He starts talking to me. He's knowledgeable. You ever hear of, and he starts naming all these comics, and I don't know them.
Like me. I feel like you.
Right.
With Tom.
Right.
I'll just
I
call
don't
you
know.
Tom.
He's just going on. He goes, how about Jackie Leonard? You know Jackie Leonard? No, I don't know Jackie Leonard. And after about 2 minutes of this, he just takes his plate and leaves. He's like, this fucking guy doesn't know nothing. And I was embarrassed. I bored Tom Waits.
Oh, my God.
I bored Tom Waits, and I was like, and then I met Phyllis Diller, and she was a big comedy historian, and I just started.
Oh, she was?
Oh, yeah, she loved about
was?
it. Yeah, she was, she took me back further. She took me back to, like, guys I'd never heard of before, like in vaudeville and stuff,
Okay.
And she's the one that told me about Gene Carroll, which I didn't know
Okay.
anything about.
Do you know who Gene Carroll is?
Archie Bunker?
No.
I'm kidding.
It's Jean
Yeah.
Carroll.
No, why does it sound familiar?
She
I'm not
was
sure.
like a
but-
woman comic in the 50s and 60s. She did
Oh,
this
my
night
mom
show.
made me look her up
Yes.
because she'll be like, look up this person, look up that person when
Yeah.
I started doing yeah.
Yeah.
So I have her written down.
She might have been the first real stand-up comic, female stand-up comic. You put her with a Minnie Pearl and Mom's Mabley right in that breakout, the late
she had
40s.
a toughness though.
What she
Or
had
am
was
I putting the wrong person?
no.
Carol.
But you have to be in time,
Gene
right?
Carroll.
I think it was David Steinberg says, being ahead of your time is as bad as being behind your time in comedy. You got to
Sure.
be on time in the moment. And after World War II, America went back to real traditional conservative gender roles. They want the women back in the homes, having kids, take care of the house, the men in the factories.
Domestic,
and all that.
right.
So she was beautiful, didn't dress down, didn't do
Right.
self-deprecating material. She banged on her husband like the men were banging on women, right? She'd go, the thing that attracted me in my husband was his sense of pride. I never forget the first time I saw him. He was standing on the hill, the wind was blowing his hair. He was too proud to chase after it.
Yeah, that
Right?
but she shit on him.
Yeah,
so
she had- right.
I don't say self-deprecating, but
Yeah.
she had no
did.
problem
She
talking
did.
trash,
Exactly.
and I like
her
that.
kids, she made fun of her. She'd let joke about her kids. When
Yes.
everybody was just, kids are the best thing, right? And she even complained. She says, I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about. Everybody criticizes me if I talk about my family, and that's what I have. So she really kind of got discouraged. She had a sitcom pilot. The sitcom was on for a couple episodes. Like Felicia said, she did a bunch of talk shows. She did Ed Sullivan and all, and she just got tired of. She could only work a couple of markets: Miami, New York, shishi rooms they called them, the high-end places. And so Phyllis learned from her. Phyllis told me, she goes, when I started doing it, she goes, I knew I had to go all in. To get in, I had to she went self-deprecating.
Wow.
I have Ritch was a narrator and interviewed people for I Am Comic, which is a documentary that Jordan Brady directed. And so Phyllis Diller was on that. So I did some stills in a few of the setups. And so I went and I got to photograph Phyllis Diller. And for people that don't know, Phyllis Diller was like a comedian from back in the day, and she dressed herself down to look kind of raggy and overweight.
She almost looked like a Muppet.
Yeah,
sometimes.
like
Clownish, very clownish.
Very
She
big
purposely
wigs.
went clownish.
Yeah.
And during the interview, Ritch brings out a little black and white photograph, and it's of her as a young woman, right? And she's like, this is right before she passed away, little tiny, like legs as thin as
93
rose stems.
years old.
You know,
She was like
yeah.
93 years
Yeah. And so he brings out a little picture, and it's of her like when she was very young and attractive. And then he goes, like, what do you think about this? And there's this moment when she looks at herself, and I took the picture right then, but it was like one of the coolest moments in comedy that I ever experienced. was that moment when you asked her, like, what was it like having to dress yourself down,
Yeah, did she look like, who the hell is that? Like, did she forget, or did she look like,
just had
I
this
remember that?
moment, like, it was like, like, it was almost like a longing in a sense, I feel, but just like, wow, someone dug this up. And then we got to go to her dressing room, and she had this huge ass walk-in closet. I have a picture of Ritch holding up one of her dresses. I'm like, he's like so
exciting.
Yeah.
That would be extremely exciting for me, whether I ever got into stand-up or not.
Yeah.
Like, I looked up to her.
She purposely did that.
Thought she was great from...
She had like 5 kids or 6 kids and a deadbeat husband. She was not messing around.
Yeah.
She did it to make money. She was funny and she loved
Right.
to express herself, but she wasn't going to go, I can afford to play the she rooms in just a couple of markets. She was the first female stand-up star. She was the first national across the board
Wasn't there
play
like
anywhere.
a female lunch, a female luncheon, comedic luncheon at across the street somewhere? I was only waiting tables here, and for some reason they were like, "You want to come?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like, I was all
really?
excited. I remember Judy Gold was there, and I feel like Phyllis
Is this
Diller
at the House of Blues in that
No,
building?
it's the other, the Standard, like that way.
Really? I did. They had one at the Friars Club in New York, like maybe 25 years ago, and she was there, a bunch of.
You remember like
the
Kim
older
Tavares, Cynthia, it was everybody from here, and then like Phyllis Diller spoke, and I remember just sitting there mesmerized. Like, I wasn't a comic, but I respected it.
Yeah.
From waiting tables here.
The sweetest thing though during this documentary is they had a makeup artist, and he goes, I can put eyelashes on you, and she's like, you can put eyelashes on me? 93-year-old woman, really? I get eyelashes?
It's the little things.
It's the little things. Literally.
Felicia, you were really paying attention.
I do. I pay attention.
Oh yeah, Felicia was in it. I believe it.
But this is what I want you to tell Eleanor. I
want to know
because Ritch does a show called The History of Stand-Up Comedy. Is that specifically what it's called? But
that's close enough.
It's a podcast?
That's what we're doing now. Yeah, a history of stand-up comedy. No,
is
we're
it
doing
a
a live
podcast
show.
or a live show?
Yeah, it's really
Where is
great
it?
show.
Well, we did it at the Yard Theater here in December with Felicia Saw.
Bill Maher was there. Like,
Oh, wow.
All the
Okay.
fellas came out. Yeah. It
Ooh.
was such a great show. And
That's
it's like
neat.
when you hear that, you think, oh, it's like a CNN history of comedy kind of, approach to it. But
No, I hate it. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not gonna get into
exactly.
it.
But what Ritch does is he'll tell you the real history of how, like, who was the first comic. Artemis, wasn't his name?
Artemis Ward,
Artemis
first
Ward.
stand-up.
Right. I thought it was Dom Herrera. Yeah.
Well, he was there.
I wrote his joke.
I can't make jokes about comics getting older now. One time I made a joke about Kip Adada in Vegas. We were hanging out with a bunch of comics at the MGM, and someone had a comic book, and they go, $1.25 for a comic book, right? And then someone goes, I remember when they were 75 cents. And then I go, Kip remembers when they were free. He got so mad.
What?
He would not talk to me the rest of the week.
He gets
so mad.
Really?
Little 23-year-old girl. I bet you remember when they were free.
I remember when they were free. It's a great joke, though.
First time only. So anyway, but tell her about Artemis Ward, because I think she would find that fascinating.
So back in the Civil War, right before the Civil War, this guy, now again, no TV, no radio. Got to remember, this is like newspapers were the big entertainment. So this guy, he was from Maine. He was always funny. And he decides he's writing these funny things at Cleveland in his newspaper. And new technology was the telegraph. So they start sending his newspaper funny things that he's posted in the newspaper to other newspapers around the country.
Yeah.
And he goes viral. And he has a name. Artemis Ward is a funny brand.
That is
And
a
then
funny
he says,
name.
I want to go on stage. Now, the only thing on stage were clowns, circus clowns, right? And he wasn't interested in doing that.
Okay.
And they were minstrel show guys. He wasn't interested in doing the minstrel show, put on black face and sing and dance and do jokes and all. He would write jokes that the minstrel guys would do, and he'd go watch them. And he'd see that his jokes were working. So he does a parody of a lecture, and he does deadpan. He virtually creates deadpan, where he doesn't, he acts like he's just talking straight, doesn't give any kind of indication he's doing jokes, and he becomes a huge hit. In America. He virtually invents invents stand-up comedy. Mark Twain learned from him. Mark Twain and him became friends.
Wow.
They were on the road partying. He partied. He loved hash.
Partied.
Oh, he drank and he.
That's so
He was on the
great.
road, but the road
It's so
was like.
harder to party back then. Yeah. You gotta
no.
dig
First
it
comic to
yourself.
fuck it up at the condo.
They'd have to find him some days. They go, the show's going, and he's out in the field chasing butterflies high as a kite.
He's growing potatoes to make alcohol. You're like, what's happening right now? Like, what?
Abraham Lincoln was a fan. He'd sneak into the White House and make Lincoln laugh during the war. I mean, he was
it.
really an amazing guy out there. His girlfriend was America's first sex symbol.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the stories. I mean, he hung out with these bohemians in New York City.
But to say invented stand-up comedy, that's a big...
No, there was nobody doing it. One person.
Like single person.
Single person. I mean, you're going to define it. Maybe let's define it. One person performing in
Solo
front of a
artist.
live audience
Yeah.
for the express purpose of making them laugh. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's keep it as simple as possible.
Live audience. Yeah, because
That's it.
like I think of a court jester. That's different. It's a clown.
Right.
So yeah, that is
Right,
awesome.
and it was all words, and then he did like a multimedia kind of thing at the time.
Multimedia at
Yeah,
the
they had
time.
this
What
thing
was
called
that?
Panorama. They said Panorama.
Yeah, sure.
These huge things, they were almost movies at the time. So this huge thing that covers the stage and had two rollers on each end, and they'd roll it, and the pictures would change as the person would talk.
Oh,
Or the
wow.
scene would
But
act.
manually roll it. You
Right,
mean,
manually
yeah,
roll
like,
it, right? Or no, yeah,
That's
manually
amazing.
roll it, so it goes across. So he did a thing where he goes, I took a trip to Salt Lake City, the Mormons. The Mormons were like, considered they ran them out of Ohio to Salt Lake.
Sure.
So they were out there, and it was like big time joke, right? Because they're multiple wives, and they're a big scandal of the country. And so he went out there to visit them, and he dug them. He liked them. He would say
He was like, this is enjoyable.
yeah, no. I mean, but he goes. They almost say
Pick of the
saved
litter
his life.
here.
He's
That's great.
he's going across the desert. He goes from California to Salt Lake at a time when there was no army out there. There were hostile Indians and armed settlers. That was it. And he goes, I made jokes about the Mormons before I ever visited them. I owe them a visit.
Yeah.
Instead of going from San Francisco back to the East Coast, he goes, I owe to find the truth of them.
I'm not going to work on hearsay.
Right.
I'm going to go get.
Now I'm going to find out about it.
I'm going to find out
Right.
some real funny shit.
Yeah, and he dug them. He liked them. He goes,
Yeah.
He said look, I don't. He had a joke. He goes, look, I don't know how a guy gets on that many wives. I had a next door neighbor killed himself with one wife. How do you hang with that many?
That's amazing.
Right. But he was a really very funny guy.
So what happened to him?
He had tuberculosis. That was the scourge back then.
Yeah.
Scourge. Really, you think don't talk about AIDS or any kind
Sure.
of thing. Virtually like in that era,
And
like
traveling
20%,
and
20% of young people between the age of 15 and 35 died of TB.
Really?
Like really, I mean, and you got
Wow.
it. You there was nothing to do. You were going to die, just depending on how fast it would happen, right? And so he got it, and he died in England. He went to England.
Got all the way to England.
So he had it in his mind. He always had his mind because England was it. Everything we sent over there culturally, they went, "Come on, man, you guys are a bunch of rubes." They
Right.
looked at us. They thought like American comedy was just a guy dancing to banjo music, wearing buckskin, skin outfit on stage. They just looked at us as rubes.
Oh, that's Carrot Top.
See, people were thinking before their time.
So he went there. He went there and knocked them out, man.
That's
They
amazing.
used to say back then, instead of like killed, they goes, he hit him hard. That's
He
what
hit
they
him
said.
hard.
He hit him hard, man.
So how did it
he died there.
spread after that? Like
So, okay.
who came after that then?
Yeah, so Twain, when he was dying in England, Twain was going on stage, and Twain admitted he was doing exactly what he saw Artemis Ward do in San Francisco.
Wow.
So Twain was going on stage in 1867 to do exactly the same thing.
But so would you consider Mark Twain a stand-up comedian?
At that time, he wasn't really. He was known a little bit for his writing, but he wasn't known as much for his writing then as he was going on stage. He made money live. He made more money on stage than he made writing.
Then he took a break and started writing.
But he hated travel. He hated travel, man. Travel was killing
get
back
it.
then.
Yeah.
You
Can
mean you
you
got
imagine?
boils? You got boils. They called them carbuncles because the seats were all hard. The rides were rough. I mean, like you'd come out, you'd bleed and
Yeah.
you peed because your kidneys would get rattled. And you knock teeth out in stagecoaches. People think you see them in the movies, like just kind of jostling around.
No.
You'd like fly and hit the top and knock your teeth out. And so he hated travel, but he was a bad business person, and he lost a lot of money. So he had there's a famous tour he did in 1895 when he was 60 years old. World tour stand-up comedy tour. to make enough money to pay off his debts and everything, because there was no bankruptcy back then.
So then after Artemis Ward, who do you think takes it, and then Mark Twain takes it to the next level?
Well, then you have vaudeville comes along, because between Twain and Artemis Ward and vaudeville, there was these called concert saloons, which were the entertainment that stand-up would be in. Stand-up's always been the people's kind of art form. It's never been high class. It's always been, working
It's definitely
class.
working. Yeah.
Right. Rich people don't need a sense of humor. They got the money.
Yeah.
Okay. So when Artemis Ward died, the concert saloons were they were just brothels, just men and women there servicing them. That's strictly so that was slapstick.
Got it.
There were no guys doing monologues, because they just wanted to see guys beat each other with sticks.
Hilarious. Literal slapstick.
Literal. That's what it was. Literal. And then vaudeville comes.
Next time somebody says you want to do some slapstick, I'm good.
Yeah, vaudeville comes. They start doing stand-up comedy. Finds a place to start, working in vaudeville. But it was acoustic.
Yeah.
Right? So you had to yell your jokes. So that's why I had a lot of people singing song parodies and making funny faces and silly dancing. Big, broad, physical
It's definitely an act. Like you have an act.
There's no question.
Yeah.
And you yelled things. And there was guys like Charlie Case who were monologists, and J.J. Thornton. And there were monologists coming along.
Yeah.
Right?
That's interesting. Who would be the next level?
Yeah.
Like vaudevillian too.
Yeah. There were a lot of comics back then. I heard some old 78s from turn of the century, right? of these people. And John Heyman and just a bunch of old, you never heard of them now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, because that's definitely I have to look that up.
Right.
Yeah, because the records are them
I have a lot of
performing in the
Googling
studio
to
with no
do.
audience.
So let me ask you this: who was the comic that really spoke to you?
Inspired you,
Yeah.
yeah.
And by the way, I just want to say, when you said slapstick, I don't know why I'm making this digression, but I was reading Joey Diaz's Twitter feed yesterday, and he's like, yeah, you and that yum stick. And I was all like,
I
oh my
saw
God,
that.
that's so stupid funny. That's so stupid.
It is a yum stick.
I'm sorry. I just had to bring that up. That made me laugh so hard.
Yum slapstick.
Okay, get back to who inspired you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So who got you into? Who made you want to do this? Because
I was doing it without knowing that I was being influenced by so many people, obviously. But Robert Klein I saw live, and back in 1973, I was in Gettysburg College, and I came down. My girlfriends probably knew more about me wanting to be a comic at the time than I did. Because I love funny, and I was always loved funny.
Yeah.
So the girlfriend says, there's a comic named Robert Klein playing down in American University. So we drove down. She borrowed a car and drove me down. And I fell out. I nearly fell out of the bleachers.
That's a pretty cool girlfriend. 1973 to recommend a comedian.
Borrowed a car.
Yeah.
Right. And I think it was 73 or 74, but I don't know. But anyway, it was in college still. And I think I fell out of the bleachers and I was laughing so hard.
That's amazing. My first ex-fiance loved him so much he got into the comedy business.
Yeah, and around the same time I saw Carlin live, and then I saw Martin Mull live, and of course then Richard Pryor albums, because my landlord was a Jamaican, and he had like Red Fox, which my dad had, so I knew that.
I love
but
Red
then he
Fox,
started playing me the '74 Richard Pryor. And then of course I was in Washington D.C. And so I got a big dose of Richard Pryor from a classmate in law school. And
you know who trips me out? And speaking of Twitter, she put up a picture yesterday. Elaine Boozler with Andy Kaufman in 1973.
Forgot they were roommates
when they lived
dated,
together.
right?
Yeah, they were boyfriend and girlfriend. And that trips me out that Elaine Boozler doesn't get more kudos, in my opinion.
By the way, we had her on, and she was also accompanied by a man we're not allowed to say his name, and she kicked him out. She goes, I want to talk.
We can say his name
Love
if
you,
we don't
Elaine.
say it one more time. That's two. That's twice then.
you're testing it.
was
You're
good.
really
It was
testing it, Eleanor. She
kicked him out. She goes, get out. I want to tell the story. And she shut him out.
We
had a great podcast with her.
That's
It's a sea
awesome.
change for comedy.
Yeah.
Elaine Boozler. Her and Lily Tomlin in the 70s.
Sure.
Okay, again,
Lily.
comics only reflect society. When I hear people go, the comics change things. Comics don't change anything.
That's
we
right.
reflect, okay? We reflect perfectly and in the moment in time. So in the 70s, right, that's the big women's movement. Women are going to college.
Sure.
No longer get an MRS degree. They're going to get a career.
Yep.
Working women are coming forth. And so Lily Tomlin and Elaine Boozler are, to me, the two big changers in the 70s. You can
like
look up
that,
on
yeah.
YouTube, Elaine Boozler, the Young Comedian Special, hosted by Freddie Prinze. I think it was like 1976 or something.
I think so. Yeah.
Caitlin was on it, Bob Shaw, and Tim Thomerson, who...
Really?
Tim Thomerson.
Great
When I came
Tim
out here...
Thomerson.
Yeah.
I came out here in 78. There's two people I remembered watching here at the store. Pryor, of course,
Right.
and Thomerson.
Everybody
Speaking
says
of
that.
stagecoach bits, remember that
Oh, my
stagecoach
God.
bit he used to do?
I went back doing an impression of it, what I could remember, when I went back to D.C.
yeah.
I was telling this bit.
Do an impression of Tim Thomerson's stagecoach.
I
bit
wish
right
Rick Ingram was here. Yeah.
He did the best.
You know?
Ingram does it.
Right?
My
Oh, he
co-host
does.
does.
Oh, he
We're
does.
obsessed with Tim
Oh, my
Thomerson.
God. Oh,
We
my
talk
God.
about him all the
It was
time.
not just that. For me, it was like my dad loved Alan King, and I didn't like him. These guys, see, I couldn't be anything more I was just a guy. Bottom line, if I got in a fist fight, I'll get in a fist fight. I didn't feel like I could be, say, too much self-deprecating. These guys were like strong. They were strong.
Yeah.
Tim Thomerson was strong to me. You know.
That everybody says if I had to put money on who was going to be a superstar, it was Thomerson.
Yeah. I mean, he just had everything going for him. To me, watching him going, this guy's no compromise up there. I mean, he was going for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did, anyway, so I just felt like...
Why do you think a person like that isn't a household name?
It's just like
It's
Sam
infuriating.
Kinison and
Yeah.
Carl LeBove. Everyone says Carl was funnier.
Well, I mean,
I thought Carl.
Really?
I thought
I'm
Carl
gonna say
could be
the
very funny.
performance.
Yeah.
Carl could
I
be
didn't
funny.
know Sam.
Yeah.
But
you can't tell me he's
No.
funnier than Sam.
I saw Sam too many times be fucked up on stage.
Okay.
Well,
I'll give it to
didn't-
Sam.
I never saw Sam live. Obviously,
Right.
he was gone before I got
Right.
here. But when I saw Carl, I was floored.
Yeah.
Whether there was 6 people in the main room or a 400 full
I mean,
house.
it's apples and oranges at the same time. I mean, Sam was socially, his comedy was more relevant socially,
Okay.
you know. But Carl, I don't know, man.
Carl
Maybe
was a great
Sam-
physical comedian.
Yeah, he
yeah,
was.
maybe Sam was
Sam
louder.
was a better writer.
Yeah.
Oh,
fair
the-
enough. That's fair.
Okay.
That's
and,
fair. The
And
writing-
also,
I like
again,
that.
Absolutely
career
fair.
timing.
Yeah.
Sam was
Sure.
struggling. I could tell you stories working with him. You know, he would say, "You close. I can't. They're going to hate me, right?" And they did.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
But
okay.
the second half of the '80s, most decades, right? There's a split. They're always schizophrenic, right? The early '60s different than late '60s.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the '80s. Second part of the '80s, country got a little darker, got a little bit more cynical,
Yeah.
got a little angrier,
Sure.
True,
and
true.
Sam
And we needed that.
Sam plugged right into that. I mean, what
That's
he was
right.
doing, he was already there. He couldn't get going, and then boom, it was the country came to where he was at. You know,
Interesting.
most comics don't. You can't figure it out. Comics, I don't see anybody figuring out where the country is, and they just are doing what they're doing, and the country
and whatever
Steve
clicks,
Martin
clicks.
or whoever it is, they're
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know what we were talking about. There's something else I was trying to get to a point, but we were.
I feel bad because I was saying,
Yeah.
how does it? We were talking about
Lane
Tim
Boozler.
Thompson.
I want to tell you Lane Boozler. I want to go back
Okay.
to Lane Boozler. So Lane Boozler does this HBO young comedian special in
Freddie
1976.
Prinze, right.
Freddie Prinze hosting. So women, they did a study. A Toronto sociologist did a study in the early 70s, mid 70s, taking all recordings she could get, albums, everything, and going just for who was doing self-deprecating material. Women were doing self-deprecating jokes 65% of the time.
Of course.
65%. Men, 11%. Okay? Lane Boozler, go look at her set. I timed her set. It's like 6.5 minutes. And I went through for self-deprecating material. 9%, 10%.
Wow.
She completely flipped the number. She had flipped the number by then. She was totally different. And she was young. Now, you're talking
Yeah.
about Lane Boozler, she was only 24, 25 when she did that special, right?
Wow.
So
wow.
she had flipped the number for
Nice.
herself. And that's organic. That's nothing planned or whatever. She
Sure.
was banging on guys the way women were banging on
And you know what else I like about Elaine, and it's going to sound very surfacey at first, but to me is the material that she did and what she chose to do, but it's also what she chose to wear, because she made stand-up, I think, because as a woman doing, other than Rita Rudner, she always wore the dresses and stuff, but Elaine was very, I thought, daring in how she dressed. And I only think that now, like when I was starting out, I didn't like to watch a lot of other comics because I was just like, I just got to do me.
Focus on you.
Yeah, I have to just do this, or because I was worried that I would absorb other people's jokes, you know what I mean? So I had to be focused like that. And so to me now, I feel like when I see those old clips, it's just not only the material, it's just how classy she was in how she dressed and how unapologetic she was about herself.
I think in the 80s she dressed more like that, but my memory of it, and I could be wrong, but in the 70s she was more conservative. I mean, my first wife was a comedian.
Terrible. I can't think of what she would wear on stage.
No,
I can think of her hair. I can think of her
I'm not talking about
She did dress up nicely, and she wore a dress.
She just wore very nice clothing. Sure. She didn't dress like a clown. Like
no.
There's always a part that as comics, especially women, where you
even
can't
if
dress
they dress
too nice,
they'll wear baby doll dresses or something a little
goofy. Yeah.
You're like, oh.
I think she wore sexier. Her third special, she was much sexier than her first couple specials, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, my first wife, and this is a distinct memory. She would wear a jacket.
Do you want to say who that is? Do you want to say who that is?
Yeah, Carol Leifer.
Okay.
It's okay.
The great
She
Carol
would
Leifer.
wear a
Great
jacket
Carol
to cover up her breast. She would be like,
because did she feel insecure?
She didn't want to be that exactly. Want to make that part of it, I mean, guys would yell out from us. You remember this? I mean, I've heard this many times. I went into the audience after guys. I was grab the guy, shut the fuck up. Because show us your tits. It
happens to me all the time, and I don't have any. I don't know what they want.
Hasn't happened to me in a while. I used to have it all the time, but now not so much. Not that I'm calling bullshit out on you, Eleanor, or anything.
You can.
Eleanor, I'm sitting
still
over here.
Their dice. These fucking idiots are still yelling that.
Yeah, but that was the sense of it, that you in women. Look, we talked about this before.
I'm not
and
a
your
hottie.
generation.
Felicia's a hottie. I'm not. I've never.
That's shush. You are too.
No. But
I can't drop kick another chick though.
That's different. You don't have testicles either. Anyway,
Eleanor,
that's uncomfortable. Let me get these in.
I'm into the wrestler.
I would give away my ability to tame my bangs to drop kick another chick any day.
I have some issues, yes, but no, but women say that. Women go like Eliza Schlesinger was like, I always try to dress down or hide myself because Eliza, like, they're built nice, whatever. Like I was like, oh, I just go on stage. I do wear jeans. I try to look at least clean.
Yes,
I don't like when people go on and they're like today's not that day.
But then you have the other one. You have women now today can go on dressing very sexy, very totally
women
different.
going on in pajamas.
Right.
I mean, there's a complete
change.
meltdown.
Complete change.
I'm just kidding.
Right, and the material. They didn't do talking sex really, as we discussed this before, Felicia. When Carol wanted to get like dirty, so to speak, she did a couple of old dick jokes at the end of her set. A couple of like, blow you for the toaster. I rang the bell, didn't I? Those jokes.
I rang the bell,
seriously, you know that joke?
No.
Okay. You don't know that joke. I thought you guys knew this joke.
No, I just talked about sucking dick. I don't know. I was just like, there were no doorbells.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you. You guys changed totally, right? Right?
What bell? What bell are we ringing?
Madam at a whorehouse. Right, here's the doorbell ring. She answers the door. There on the doorstep, there's a man, no arms, no legs. She said, "What are you going to do here?" He said, "I rang the bell, didn't I?" It's a big dick joke.
I know that old joke. But that was her joke?
No, it's an old joke. No, to blow you for the toast. It's just old jokes.
Oh, okay. I was like,
just old jokes. But it's just a total.
I had a whole new respect for Carol. I gotta be honest. I was like, fuck yeah.
She wrote that joke.
My brothers told me that joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my filthy mouth definitely comes from my brothers would play Pryor, Eddie Murphy, Dice in the basement. That was it.
Whole different era.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm just like, and I'm the baby-ish. There's 2 under me, but there's 10 of us. I'm number 8. So I didn't have a choice. I couldn't change the channel. So I was like, oh, I learned that that just went in
Right.
somewhere, and then they would say horrible things to me, and then I'd have to say something back, or you lose the game, whatever it is. So it's like, I'm very competitive. I have to get in there. So I would say worse things than they did.
Yeah.
That's not what you called it in South Philly and South
No,
Jersey.
no. They used to call me a fat truck driver when I was little. But
when you're doing that with each other, it's ball busting.
breaking balls.
That's how I learned to do comedy. That's
Sure,
where all
breaking
that's why
balls.
working in front of rock crowds was not a problem.
People are like, how can you stand being around those comics? Don't your feelings get hurt? You want to come to my mother's house? You'll shit your pants. My family is awful to me. They send me messages. They send me comics that are funnier than me. I can't even.
They don't shit in your bed though, right?
It depends on what night it is. No, I'm kidding. Is that an Amber Heard?
Yes.
You got to stop watching this trial.
I know. I got to
I'm
stop
worried
watching
about
it.
that,
Are you
Felicia.
watching it a
Oh
lot?
my God. And then my boyfriend and me will watch it together when we wake up. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. And then we'll be like, this is stupid. We're better and bigger than this. And then we'll start our day. And then we go and take our little iPads and go watch it in another part of the house. It's
All I'm
terrible.
hearing is Johnny Depp is single. Johnny? I can clean up better than this. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's laundry
it's
day.
It's not okay to. Anyway.
So wait, now are you? Because the last time you were here, you had a book out too.
Yeah,
just
that was a book called Kicking Through the Ashes. That's sort
Kicking
of
through the ashes.
memoir autobiography. It was covered in the 80s, comedy in the 80s. I just framed it for that time. When I was
okay.
going. So that's that.
So the comics you started with, or whatever, your peer, like Kinnison, would be a peer. Who else
sure.
was here when you, or here or wherever you started? Like
I mean,
that you
there's a generation,
palled around with.
I mean, Bill Maher.
Wow.
Was a friend.
Cool.
Kevin Rooney, of course, was my best friend.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mike McDonald from Canada.
Yeah.
Was a great friend. That's my generation.
That's
the guys
your
that came along,
guys,
the
yeah.
guys started,
Can I tell you my Sam Kinison story?
Oh, please.
Oh, I can't
Have I
wait.
ever told you the
I think-
Sam Kinison
I don't
story?
remember.
I think I may have told you. I'm
That's
sorry
okay.
to interrupt. That was so terrible that I just interrupted you. Anyway.
Bursky's here.
Oh, you said it again.
That's true. You can't say it one more time. You can't say it one more time.
Lock the door.
So, Sam was dating Tamayo, right?
Oh.
And then he got married to his
yes,
wife,
Malika.
and they had a huge fight. And so Sam came to the store and he was all fucked up, and he was standing right where the belly room sign is. And as I would let the main room out, and when I say he's fucked up, y'all, you know what I'm talking about.
It was a different level.
It was a whole, like they'd been up for 3 days kind of fucked up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so as people were filing out of the main room, every time someone would come out, he'd drop his pants and be like, remember when this would get a laugh, right? And he shows penis, right? And then people would be like, okay, that's hilarious but weird. And then he's like, I don't know how he got there, but he's like, Malika's mad at me. I can't go home. Can I stay at your house, right? And this is like a brother saying, like, can I stay at your house? And I was like, oh, I don't know. So, no, I got a flight in the morning. Can I stay at your house? And I was like, all right. So then I drive into my house, and my roommate was gone for the night for some reason. And then and I used to collect like vintage glasses, and so I had like a baby Huey glass and a Wendy the Good Witch, and I just like picked him out of the cabinet, not realizing I was pouring us wine or something, and he was drinking out of the baby Huey glass. I don't know, that felt important. And and then my roommate was a weird chick from Japan, and she would always lock her door. So we totally went to sleep in my bed, and then he woke up around 4:30 in the morning. He's like, shit, I gotta catch this flight, right? And so then he calls a cab. He's had the first cell phone, one of the first cell phones I saw. He calls a cab, and then he's like, oh, my Ferrari keys. And I'm like, yeah, I don't see him. All right, I'll see you later. So then he leaves, right? And then he calls me from the airplane. We're like, and he's like, have you seen the Ferrari keys? And I'm like, no, I don't see the Ferrari keys. 3 months later, I'm dating this opening act from San Diego, right? And we are having the best sex of my life. He was very pretty. He didn't last in comedy. And it's going bueno, right? And he bangs me up against a wall, and his hand slips between the bed frame and the wall, and he pulls it out, and they're the Ferrari keys. And he's like, will you fucking explain this? I can't say Kinnison was in my bed, right? Anyway. That's my story. My ex-husband heard that story outside my circle and thought that I'd actually had sex with Sam Kinison, which, right,
my
Rich? That's gross.
goodness.
Right?
Yeah,
That's gross.
yeah.
That's way
Sam was-
why I like Carl better.
Yeah,
Oh,
Carl
man.
more
Well,
my
I
type,
mean-
but
Sam had some carny in him, man.
but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Sam.
Yeah, he-
I wish I would have met him, but I don't
we-
know. I probably
Oh.
would have fought with him.
You know, he would have mesmerized you like the Slytherin that
Yeah,
he
but
was.
I fight with the partiers, though. The
What?
partiers that go too far, the partiers, I'm always the one yelling at them.
He would have mesmerized you. I'm telling
Maybe.
you.
No,
I've seen him.
He was really talented.
No, I believe that.
No,
I'm
no,
just
not
saying,
on
like,
stage, off stage.
yeah. Oh,
that
I'll tell
way.
a story I never told
Wow.
before.
Okay, I'm excited about this.
Okay.
So we're partying over. Carol and I had a house on Lexington over in West Hollywood.
Okay.
We're all partying over there. There were a couple of people. I'm not going to mention names because maybe they don't want to be a part of the story. But Sam was definitely there. so
Everybody
we
else
run
in
out
common.
of coke around 2 a.m. or so. We're out
Okay,
of
and
coke.
that's a tough time.
Tough time.
Yeah.
So Sam goes, I know the guy. Now, this is no cell phone, so we're not calling anybody.
His name's probably Majid.
I don't know. Got the guy. We'll go get the coke. We passed the hat. $700-800 in the hat.
Pass
Go
the
get-
hat.
As soon as we get out in the car,
That's $1,500 nowadays.
yeah, whatever.
That's
Sam
more than
goes,
a bump.
What do you got, Shydner? I go, $800. We got enough for some cocaine and a couple of blowjobs. Let's go.
Wow.
So we drive over to this
It's a
place.
quick assessment.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam was very quick. So we drive over to this
I'm sorry,
place.
but Eleanor and I just leaned in.
So,
800, you say? Go ahead.
we drive over to this place, and this is one-stop shopping. The coke dealer had a couple of friends there. And
Okay.
Sam goes, let's go. So
That poor
I'm
girl.
drunk and high. I noticed, though, my new friend is going through my pants pockets, which are down around my ankles. And I go, whoa, stop, because going for the money. So I get into a tussle. She was unfriending me so fast, pulled out a nail file.
Whoa.
And now I'm grabbing a hand, and it nicks me in a couple of places on the face, which I don't really notice. I just
because you're
struggle.
high-
I'm high,
yeah.
drunk, the big struggle.
It is the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial.
Yeah. So Sam runs into the same problem. Right now, we got to get his wallet back.
Oh,
And
now
there's
you're
the whole
getting
thing, and then
robbed.
of course the
Oh,
coke
wow.
dealer comes involved now, and we don't want to pay for the services that weren't really rendered. There's a whole thing going on, but we get our coke and get out of there. But we're gone for like an hour now. We got to come back. We come back, come in the door. I don't notice it. Sam doesn't notice it. I got cut in the face.
Yeah.
Was
And-
it like one cut or like?
Yeah, there was some cuts. I don't know remember how many pokes there were, but she got me. Of course, somebody, whatever, my wife, somebody goes, "What happened to your face?" Sam, I'm like, I'm Ralph Cramner. I don't. Sam goes, "I'll tell you what happened," and he whips up a story so fast that explains why we're late. The whole thing. We got into a tussle trying to protect these people. I got thrown off the porch into the bushes. The police came. We had this. It was so fast and so detailed and so good. I was mesmerized, like everybody.
Preacher's son.
Everybody. And I go, God damn, he's good. He is really good, man. And everybody goes, wow, man.
And they're
You guys are
wiping
lucky
your
to be here.
face?
And you got the coke too. And he's like, you got the coke too. And of course, the party continues. And Sam was like, party never has to end.
Yeah.
was his-
Men
that was
really
his
his
suck.
motto.
That was his mantra.
Men really suck.
I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to deny it. I'm
They
not gonna-
commit. They stay together on the story. You probably stay quiet the whole time.
Oh my God!
nodding your
I'm
head.
just going. Where's this going? This is fantastic. Nothing had happened out there. I'm just as mesmerized as everybody else. This is fantastic.
You're like, this is
I hope
incredible.
I
This is
end
a
up the
great
hero in this
story.
story.
Now, did you ever fess up to your wife that
She knew. I mean, look, I
Yeah.
got busted so many
she knew a
times.
nail file hole when she saw it?
Oh, yeah.
I've done that before. That's
You
great.
had to run in a little Chucky doll, did you, dear?
That's so
That's
funny.
great,
Oh
Felicia.
my goodness.
Yeah, I made my amends.
Okay. Oh,
That
that made me sad.
Later and after that. How many times have you been married?
This is the third.
All right, 3 times a charm.
Yeah, It is right now.
Okay,
It
there you
certainly
go.
is. I'm totally
Not
in
good for
love
you,
and
man.
totally happy.
Yeah.
Really.
How long have you been married?
We got married 4 years ago, but we've been
Oh,
together
cool.
since 2003.
Oh, that's great.
And I knew her since '85.
Okay, so that's a long time.
I knew her. Yeah.
So you guys have like a
long history,
mutual respect
and you were friends first, right?
Yeah. You know what? I had so, of course, I'm so screwed up in relationships. So after my second divorce, I had this therapist, and it was like the first time that she really laid it out for me. She goes, you meet a woman, and that bell goes off, right? I go, yeah, that's right. Like the attraction, it's on. You know, cross the bar. You know what that is. Cross the bar, 100 people, you and I, boom, right? And she goes, you think it's the dinner bell. It's really the fire alarm. So you got to go out with a woman that bell doesn't go off and learn to know her. I said, and she taught me how to recognize the anger. She says, you go for it. Well, anyway, don't want to get into it. But
I get it.
And Ron and my wife was that woman.
Yeah.
You know, she loved me, but I was not loving her back, really. I mean, I was happy with her, and it was comfortable and all that, but it was not love. It's love now. It took me a long time to go, this is it. And that's why I asked her to marry me. I wasn't going to get married again. And she's like, I'm okay with that. Yeah. And then I went, what am I thinking? I love this woman.
Yeah.
This woman taught me how to love. I didn't know. I had such trust issues. You can't even, you know.
I believe it. Yeah,
really,
I mean.
That was all just running scared. I was always running scared.
Sure.
And you kind of put it off as like, I'm not going to get caught, and I'm not caught like holding the bag. You know what I mean? You're not going to break up with me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to finish this thing first.
Nobody hurts me. I hurt you first.
Yeah.
Okay. Eleanor.
I get it first.
You see that rustler coming out? Did you see that rustler coming?
She's single.
That rustler came out. You're not going to hurt me.
Johnny, I can take a punch. Now, is that too soon?
I don't know.
Probably.
I don't know.
Wait, shit, there was something I was going to ask you and I lost it because I got excited about Johnny Depp.
Okay.
I love you guys. I love this whole Johnny Depp thing.
Well,
he ain't that Johnny Depp anymore.
Why? He's always Johnny Depp.
No, see, he'll always be. It's just like with me. Like,
Are you saying I'm hearing the fire bell?
It's like locked in with your memory. You know, like years ago, somebody said Raquel Welch. I go, oh, Raquel Welch. She goes, yeah, she's like 70 years old. I go, not the Raquel Welch I'd be doing.
Yeah.
She'd be that poster in my bedroom. You know what I mean? 1 million BC.
She was like still a hottie.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
You know who was mine when I was a kid? Andy Gibb when I was a teenage girl. And there was, I don't know how I got out of some magazine. There was like this poster where he was like in these, or maybe it was Leif Garrett.
One of those, but they both look like Christy McNichol.
Yes. Let's face it, who I really wanted.
Obviously.
But he had these shiny sateen pants on. Remember when people used to wear those sateen pants? And I kissed his penis so much, rubbed away the whole paper.
No.
Just saying.
That's great.
Wow.
You really are my sister Karen.
Sadly so.
That's a good image. You were right.
Yeah.
Karen had Mick Jagger.
Oh, really?
Yeah. My sister, she had Mick Jagger. My mother would go, those lips. I come into that stupid room and those lips are everywhere.
Were they intact? Were they? Because I would have been like,
who knows? She probably, she may or may not have made out with him, but she had 55 boyfriends anyway. So.
Yeah, I'm sure.
She had a boyfriend named Rudy Valentino.
Wow.
Rudy Valentino.
In Philadelphia.
Yeah,
how funny is that?
That is funny.
Rudolph.
Could he disco?
I just thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, who names their kid Rudy? Whatever. So it was nice. They dated when they were in high school.
Very sweet.
But I always used to tease her. She's out with her Rudy. I had a crush on him too. Anyway, I liked all her boyfriends. I was like a little boy crazy tomboy who would chase. Do you have any siblings? That's what I was going to ask you. I do remember that.
2 younger brothers and a younger sister. My younger sister was a tomboy.
Oh, okay.
In 1974, the courts forced New Jersey and probably other states to let girls play. There was no softball.
Was that Title IX or something?
Yeah, well, that's before Title IX. It was before it. But to let them join Little League. So my dad, he was a local businessman. He didn't want to go down and take her down there. I'd been playing baseball with her. I told her to play baseball. So I came back from college and took her over there. We got pictures. It's great because she's the first one to sign up, the first girl. They forced them to take girls in the Little League, right?
Okay.
And you see these men, all these men are sitting around a table and standing around. They're glaring at us, man. Glare. They were angry.
Bad news bears.
They were angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's standing there. And
Best line ever.
I ran
Yeah.
over to Grant's because we're going to take a picture. Wait a minute, she's got to have the equipment. So I ran over to Grant's and got like a little baseball cap and a bat and a glove so she could hold it during the picture. So you got to show her she's going to play. And she was great.
Oh, wow.
She was great. Like, I mean,
That's
really.
so neat. Like, I never even thought of that. We were just playing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
we were just,
yeah. No,
there was
this is when
tons
it
of girls
started.
in my neighborhood that were like, yeah, we're playing. You got a problem with that? We'll fight you.
No,
Like,
no.
we
This
didn't-
is, she was 8 years old. I mean, starting out. And and then softball started, so she played softball. She was a great player. Best athlete in the family, no doubt.
Oh, wow.
So in your group of people when you were coming up, who did you think, other than Tim Thomerson, was going to be the star?
Oh, going to be the star.
Yeah, because when you
interesting.
have your little circle when you're starting out, there's always someone
pick
that you
someone,
think,
yeah.
oh, like this person.
This person.
And then it's always the person that you would have never have guessed.
Well, when
Yeah.
I moved to New York, the guy I thought, I mean, first of all, you see Belzer and Catch a Rising Star, you go, he's going to be a star. He ruled that room like Robin Harris did the Comedy Act Theater.
Oh, wow.
there's nobody ruled that room like that. And then, so I thought for him, sure. And then I thought, I'm going, wow, Gilbert Gottfried's the guy.
Ooh,
Gilbert was the comic. First of all, and you just go, and regular people, when he wanted to turn it on,
Yeah.
right? He'd destroy. Like, he did his character Tony,
Yep.
which was, that Brooklyn comic.
So funny.
Why'd the moron throw the clock out the window? Because he's a fucking moron. Are you listening to me? Fucking clear, ain't it? And he deconstructed comedy with this bit, man. And it would kill. But if Gilbert, he would start to put this jacket on, so he had this really hokey jacket he put on for the Tony character.
Yeah.
So if he starts to put it on, and people in the audience would yell, "Tony!" I mean, they would bring people back to see him do
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Wow.
He would take the jacket off and do something else. So he had that kind of, you're not going to tell me what to do, or I'm not going to seek that much approval, which is
Ooh.
part of his charm, right? But also I think maybe kept him back from like the big, because he could have gone all the way. I mean,
Yeah.
Robin Williams would come in and improv with Gilbert, and Gilbert was the only comic I ever saw where Robin would stop and watch him.
Really?
Like he would just
Wow.
stop, and Gilbert would go off on a thing, and
What year was this around?
like 79, 80, 81. And
That's
Robin was already a big
killer.
star.
Yeah.
I remember once, when the first time I met Robin, I was the MC at the Improv. This is like, again, 79, 80, somewhere. And Robin comes in, of course, sees the big star. And he goes up and improv. And there's, a couple 100-seat room, just destroys 45 minutes, comes off. I got to stand right in the room because comics are dying right and left. You know what I mean? They come up, 3 minutes in. All right, that's it for me. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm bringing comics right. Robin's standing next to me. Robin Williams standing next to me. Now, he'd had one of those sets, and I saw this, where no matter what he did, they were screaming and laughing. And what moves his hand, whatever he did, everything worked, everything.
Yeah.
During one of the first two acts up there, he says, not to me, just out loud, but I heard it, I don't even know what's funny anymore. And I got it later, that he didn't know what's funny because everything worked. So if everything works, how do you know what's funny?
Right.
He was getting too much approval, too much acceptance.
Yeah.
So he was having a hard time calibrating what's really funny and what's going on up there. Of course, then he goes, I turned to him in that instinctive way, hey, you want a bump? Right? And that's when we became friends that night. But
Right.
he did something, this is a true story, he did something. My brother was up, he was in the service, and he was in basic training. So my brother was visiting me, he was standing back in the kitchen. You could stand back in the kitchen area and watch his show. He's 19 years old, he's watching his show. So we go out after Robin, and us, a couple of we go out afterwards. Now we're going into these bars in New York. Robin's a star. Women are coming around.
Yeah.
They're all down his end of the table,
Yeah.
I happen to get some drift coming down long enough, but my brother is this pimply-faced guy.
Some drift.
Hey,
man.
Right? I mean, there were others. We were other comics sitting there.
Drift.
They all can't sit next to Robin. They got to kind of drift down toward us.
Yeah, we get the reference.
Yeah. It's
We're part of
crabbing.
the drift.
There's a South Georgia drift. It's
We're the sad
crabbing,
part
and
of the drift.
We're netting a few crabs.
Got it.
Better.
My brother's sitting down the end, nada, 19-year-old pimply face in uniform. This is
Wow.
not, hey, how about a hand for our
He's
troops?
getting
era?
no drift.
None.
Nothing. Nothing.
Right? We're drinking. A little while later, I notice a girl in there talking to him,
To your brother?
my brother. So we're walking out of there, and I swear I remember this as much as drunk and high I was. I got to Rob, did you send her down? He goes, everybody's got to have somebody to talk to. He sent one of the girls who were with him down. Go talk to that guy for a while.
Aww.
He saw him down the other end. He was a really kind guy. And that to me was like,
sweet.
to me, that was a nice gesture.
That is amazing,
Right?
Jester. Yeah. To even notice that.
Yeah,
he's by
come on,
himself,
man,
like,
really? I'm shocked. I didn't notice. I didn't give a shit.
You're his
My
brother. You're like, I got two near me.
I'm trying to work a game here. You're on your own.
Do you think that was the highlight of your brother's life?
He remembers it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
It's his go-to story.
Just every time he's out.
Hilarious.
I love that. But that's like so sweet. So now you're out, you're doing stand-up again.
Yeah,
Is what you're saying.
yeah.
Like
Just
you've
keep-
been,
well,
but you've
Felicia,
been for a while.
I was looking forward to working with Felicia in
I
Las
know.
Vegas,
I
but
know
I was there.
I'm going to be in Vegas end of June.
Isn't that a great
so
room?
I'm excited.
Are you going
Yeah,
to the Laugh Factory?
Yes.
It's a great
Yes.
room. It
I was
really
so
is.
excited because I'm like, Rich will give me some tags. I'm in business. I got the COVID.
Oh man, that hurt.
Wow. Because that's great. Who else was on the show?
So the unnamed comedian was on the show.
That we can't say his name three
Yeah,
times.
the unnamed comedian.
Oh.
And then they had fill in local comics, John Campanera, Shema Tash did one night, and then
Sure.
Mark Pitta. So they
nice.
filled it.
Okay.
There's so many.
Oh, John. I love
John's
so that's
great.
exciting. He's one of my favorites.
You know, one of the last times I saw Robin Williams was with Mark Pitta when he had the Throckmorton.
Oh, we were right.
And Robin did some stuff, and it was because it was like about a year or so before he passed. And when you were telling that story about I don't know what anything's funny yet, as the next day after that show, Pitta was driving me to the airport, and Robin called him on the phone, and Robin said, "Oh, really? You thought that was funny? I don't know what funny is anymore." So that was a trip.
Wow.
When he said that, I was
Yeah.
like, "Whoa."
I can't remember his name now. There's a guy who opened up for Rodney, one of the many.
Okay.
He liked the guitar act, so this guy's a guitar. Scott Record. his name
Oh.
is. Scott Record.
Oh, okay. I
think
was
his
thinking
name
of
is.
somebody
I'm
else.
pretty
But
sure.
yes.
He told me a story.
You know what a record is, right?
No.
You know what that is, right?
FYI, I was thinking of Dennis Blair.
Okay.
You're gonna stop there.
I went to Dennis Blair
Right.
in my head
Right.
but that's Carlin's opener. He opened for Carlin.
He
for years.
He used to
Yeah,
open
yeah,
for Rodney too.
Oh, did he?
Dennis
okay.
did. He did
So
indeed.
I went to him, but then what is the other thing we're talking about? Record. What?
Scott Record.
So he told me this story that he was opening for Rodney, and they were living in they were one particular place they performed at. It was like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom suite.
Got it.
So Scott's out there in the middle of the night, and he's just screwing around in the living room area.
Mm-hmm.
And Rodney comes out of the bedroom in his robe, of course, and he's got a whole bunch of papers of jokes. And he comes down, he sits there, and literally he's in tears. He goes, "It seems I'm fucking jokes. I don't know what's funny anymore. I can't tell what's funny." There's nothing that freaks out a comedian more than thinking you
Yeah.
lost your sense of funny.
Yeah.
That is terrifying. But when they say it like that, meaning they've done so much, or
Yes, he's reading jokes obviously to buy. And he's
Yeah.
probably read so many, and I don't know what else chemicals he's doing or whatever, but he's at the point where he can't tell what's funny anymore.
Yeah, it's
he's
crazy.
reading all these jokes. Rodney was amazing.
because on stage I understand it, what he said, Robin.
Right.
Like, I don't know what's funny anymore. Because
Yeah.
like if Chris Rock goes on, they go ballistic, right?
Right.
And then he'll go, lower your expectations. I have to work stuff out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, but Rodney people would sell him jokes at he was a one-liner
Right.
comedian. So a lot of times he could tell
So-
this is going to
yeah,
fit me
so
or
this
not
is
fit
a-
me.
oh,
These
wow.
jokes are well
Wow.
written. Rodney was an honorable guy, and he was so good at jokes. I was the improv MC one night, and Pat Buckles was the manager. And
Oh, I
calls
love
his-
Pat.
Pat.
She goes, "Rodney's on the phone, wants to talk to you." Now, he didn't want to talk to me particularly. He just wanted to talk to some comic who was there. I happened to be MC. I get on the phone. He goes, "Hey, kid, I got these jokes here, right? This guy sold me these jokes, right? There's like 5 or 6 jokes. They're all shit, but this one joke's good, man. It's too fucking good. You know what I'm saying? It's too good. Like, it didn't fit the other jokes. He knew it was stolen. He suspected it was
Ooh.
stolen. So anybody who does this joke, you know? And immediately tells me a joke, and I knew it was Ronnie Shakes. Ronnie Shakes was a great one-liner comedian. He died early at 40 at a heart attack.
Okay.
He was really great. And I immediately recognized the joke as Ronnie Shakes. I said, "It's Ronnie Shakes." "Oh, really, man? Hey, give me the guy's number, will you? Give me his number. I want to call him up." So Ronnie Shakes comes in the next night and tells me, he says, "Thanks a lot for giving him the number." Rodney called him and said, "I got these jokes. This one here, I knew was too good. So I found out it was your joke. I'd already done it once in my club. I got a Tonight Show coming up on Friday. I'd like to do this joke in that Tonight Show. If you want to sell me the joke, I normally pay $50, but because I did the joke already, and it's like Tonight Show's coming up, I'll give you $250. If you don't want to sell it, I totally get it. Ronnie Shakes like, no, man, you're my hero. You're a one-liner.
Do whatever you
titan.
want. Yeah.
So he sold it to Rodney, right? Rodney then, this is what I heard. Rodney then calls him back a couple days later, says, the guy was supposed to come, he can't come. I got 2 tickets. I got one for me, one for you. Want to come on to Los Angeles with me to the Tonight? He takes Ronnie Shakes with him, right? And then he has Ronnie Shakes going at the Improv, and I don't know, Macaulay or whoever Tonight Show saw him and put him on the radar to go do the Tonight Show. I mean, you could look him up, Ronnie Shakes on the Tonight Show. He had killer lines.
The name is definitely familiar, but I don't know if it's because
he had a real New York accent. He said
he sounds like somebody I grew up with.
I've been in therapy for 20 years, and last week my therapist said something to me that broke my heart. No habla inglés. But he had great lines. He goes, I wanted to kill myself. I knew I wasn't serious. I went down the beach to drown myself, and I took a towel. Right. But he had great dark lines.
Wow.
Everybody loved him,
yeah.
respected him as a great writer, great performer of one line.
Did he ever get to do the Tonight Show?
He did. You go on YouTube and look him up.
Yeah.
Ronnie Shakes.
I gotta look him up.
He was starting to cook. It's like Dennis Wolfberg. He was really starting to cook, and then he died young, or died, in 40 years
Dennis Wolfberg?
Yeah. You never heard of Dennis Wolfberg?
Yeah, but I think I'm confusing him.
He's my generation. He was really came on. He just came on. He could do this little eye pop, and
I'm going to tell you who I'm confusing him with.
Okay. Don't say his name.
No.
Okay.
Calm down. The guy who drives around with his car with all his headshots on it in Hollywood, he drives around. His name's Dennis. I'm almost positive that's his name.
With his headshots taped
on
to his
the car, saying I'm an actor for hire.
Wow.
He always you could see him progressively getting worse in the business because the cars got smaller and smaller.
No,
I'm sorry, but I haven't seen them in a while, Dennis. But yeah, that's what I thought you were talking about. So I'll have to look him up too. Yeah. I'm going to be Googling the whole night. I have to pack. I'm going on the road.
Jean Carroll.
I have her. My mom made me look her up.
The band.
I knew about Jean because my mom made me look
Elaine
that one
Boozler,
up.
HBO Young
Elaine, I already
special.
know. Elaine, we've had on. She did the joke about
but you want to see the set she does. That's
you're right. But I love the joke about living in New York, and she would have 6 locks, and she would unlock every other one, so that when they broke in, they kept locking one.
And by the way, the unnamed comedian did that joke last week in Vegas, so it still works.
Oh, by the way, okay, I'm gonna say this.
You got to take that out.
We gotta wrap this up, right?
Okay.
But
wrap it up.
Before we do,
you've already said his name twice.
We're gonna call Alan.
No,
okay.
I
didn't say the whole name.
I have to say that this Alan Bursky is who we keep saying. We're not saying his name. Sorry, he's not going to show up because he wouldn't waste the gas to get here. And
yes, he would.
I'm kidding. Maybe
he's in Vegas.
He'd
He's still in Vegas.
Ask us to reimburse him.
Yeah, he's at a comic magician.
Well, here's
magician's conference.
Got it. So all he talked about, if you remember, were gas prices. Do you remember that? He'd be like, gas was 12 cents. And then he'd be like, and then I came here in 82 and gas was $2. I'm like, so Rick, of course, Ingram is just calculating, right? So flash to a couple months later, Sammy Shore passes away. I'm sorry, he didn't pass away. It was his 90th birthday or something. Okay. They had a show in the main room.
Yeah.
Paulie put people on just to get audience. Like, they didn't know Sammy. They didn't know Mitzi, let alone Sammy. Yeah. So, like, Anthony Jeselnik's like, I'm not sure why I'm here. But
it's like Rich Jenny's memorial. That's what it's like.
They were doing jokes, but they were like, and Eric Griffin was like, cool. That's Paulie's dad. Like, So Bursky's there, and he's like, no one even knows.
Oh, I know. Alan gets so mad.
So Ingram goes out. And roast Bursky the entire time.
That's awesome.
Shitting on him about gas prices. He goes, hey, Alan, how much was gas when Argus was beating the shit out of Mitzi? Sammy's on the floor. He He's dying
my
laughing.
God,
He's like,
that's
this is
hilarious.
amazing. It was probably one of the best sets I've ever. I mean, Rick kills all the time, but
Yeah,
it was
he
one
does.
of those like.
Oh, that's
and
great.
Bursky's in the back. How does this fucking guy know me? He didn't even remember being on the podcast with him.
Oh my God.
It was so good. It
How
was
much was gas?
so good.
That's so funny. Alan
And
Bursky.
Argus was like, "This is out of control." He just,
Yeah.
I'm going into the basement.
he's like, "I'm not gonna laugh at this, but I'm not gonna stand here."
And I love
do
myself some Alan Bursky. I really do love Alan Bursky.
We all
I do
do,
too.
but he's a
this
great
is what he
character of
asked
this
me.
place.
One time he used to live with Alan Stevens, right?
Yes.
So these are two old bulls in the china shop, right? And so I'd go over there and visit Alan Stevens, who's one of my best friends. I'm very friendly with Bursky, obviously. And then Bursky's like the whole time, "Hey, if we give you some money, will you go grocery shop for us and cook for us?" I was like, "Really? I'm one of your contemporaries, and you're literally asking the only female out of the people sitting here to go grocery shopping and cook for you."
He's the worst. He's so bad. He's
Like,
so
really,
bad.
Alan? He's like, "Just a pot roast. Just make me a pot roast." He loves himself.
What year is it for him? Do they even have pot roast anymore?
But you know, his
Did we
parents.
get rid of that? Did we vote it out? I
His
voted.
parents
It's
used to
out.
run the comedy store back in the day.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh, please, we know
he's
the whole
in-
story.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
yes,
he was.
do.
He was here day one.
Yes, he was.
And in
Yes, he
that
was.
lot, I could get so many cars. I'm like,
50
all
cars.
right.
50
Yeah.
cars in that lot. We had 50 cars. Okay, there's no way you got more than 5. There's no way 5.
Yeah, it
Especially those
wasn't even a real
1970s
lot.
land yachts they had.
Oh yeah,
crazy.
yes,
Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Would
People
everybody
with
have a
their
Toyota?
Cadillacs. Yeah.
Remember, Richard Pryor Jr. used to be the lot guy.
No,
Really?
I don't. If he wasn't here in '93, no.
Yeah, that was in. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Chewy, but we got to wrap it up. 'cause,
Okay.
You have a thing, and I have a.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in trouble too. But I mean, I could talk to you for hours. That's what I'm saying. That's amazing. Both of you are amazing. Thank you,
So much
Felicia,
fun.
for helping me. But your stories are
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you.
And where can people find this or go buy tickets to?
Well, we
History
don't
of
not
Comedy?
performing it right now. We're just trying to go to some streaming service and do it. Do
Got
it as
it.
a limited series or as just a one-off, me performing it live or whatever. But that's what we want to do
It's
now.
so
I
smart.
can't go
It's
around.
such a
It
great
is fun.
idea.
It is fun.
It's a great show.
It's
and-
funny. I mean, that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. Like
It's
Felicia was
funny.
saying.
It's knowledgeable. It's you know,
And
yeah.
he delivers the jokes in the spirit of how they were delivered in the first place from 100 years ago. I mean, I know we're not doing it the service that it needs because it is a wonderful show that Rich does for sure.
That's great.
Thanks, Felicia.
Can people find like a clip of it or any part
I'm
of
not
it? to
going
watch?
to put anything out there right
'Cause you're-
now.
you're trying to
right?
sell-
I mean,
got
look,
it.
if nothing ever happens, we recorded the shows at the yard and we edited a nice full version of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if nothing ever happens a couple years from now, just put it on YouTube and let anybody who wants it go at it.
Got it.
But that's where it's at. I'm not really putting it out there, and I'm still doing it once in a while, like in places in North Carolina. I'm going to go to the comedy festival and do it, and some people
Oh, cool.
are doing a couple of colleges and in the fall where I can do it, right?
Yeah.
And I always
What-
thought that would be a good place for it because it is historical and educational, but it's funny. I love getting laughs with some 100-some-year-old joke or
Absolutely. With the Asheville Comedy Festival?
No, I'm not doing that. I
Oh.
did that a couple years ago. I had never heard from them since.
Okay, yeah, I
When
did
I
it.
first moved there, I did it.
Okay, I did it with LeBeau.
Did you?
Carl.
Did,
We had a blast.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear. I love Carl.
Of
I know when I
course.
said
Yeah,
Sam was
that's all
funnier,
right.
it was just a
That's first of all,
Yeah.
everybody has
yeah.
everybody
yeah.
has different
Well,
tastes.
that's
That's
what
what
I-
makes us all work
that's what I
and
tell people.
universal.
No
yeah,
matter what you think about comedy, you're right.
that's right.
Remember what you think is funny, you're right.
And what isn't to you.
Especially when you're a comic and you know people, it does color your judgment. I
Sure.
think it's your own
100%.
Yeah.
I got in trouble. Somebody said I say 100% too much, so I have to stop saying it. I'm gonna have to start give myself like a little. Stop saying that.
Really?
Just say
Give yourself one
okay.
of those leg kicks you do. And look
Drop
at me,
kicks.
I'm focused on it now.
All right. Well, so where can people find you online,
They can
stuff
find
like
me
that?
online at richshydner.com. Right, they can find me online, but I'm not out there.
Just
I'm
put
not
it in
trying
there.
to make a name for myself.
Don't act like an
You know what I mean?
asshole. Look them up properly.
I love it.
You
when
got
people
better
call, they
shit
go,
to do than this today. You
I
are
know,
trying
no,
to do it.
I
Come
know.
on.
Look, my fans. When a comedy's good, they play 3 comedy clubs. They go, I'm on tour. You're not on tour.
I love that.
You're doing a
My
couple of
favorite
dates.
thing.
My special. Your special is an iPhone camera. The back of the room. Shut
How dare
up.
you
There's
talk about my
nothing
career like that?
Special
Yeah,
about
like
you.
special. Nothing special if you pay for it.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so.
I'm recording my album. We don't even use albums anymore. But
I really wish I started when I was younger.
No, you
So
don't.
yeah, I do.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
what, like 12?
But yes.
What are you talking
Well,
about?
because like it was just better back then. It meant more.
I think they're better comics now. They're greater.
I'm not
comics
saying
now.
there's
They're
not
more
better
comics.
comics.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's oversaturated,
no,
and we got a lot of kids on tour. We got a lot of
You
specials
got
out there.
hobbyists now. We never had
That's right.
hobbyists.
How
And
dare you
they're
speak of my career once again?
All right, thank you both for being here. Felicia, you have any plugs? Anything?
FeliciaMichaels.com. Yeah, just doing my thing. Yeah.
Okay. You guys are as bad as me. You know where to find us. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. Please look them up. They're so funny. Thank you so much again. And
I'm now a new handle at the real Ritch Shydner because there are too many frauds out there.
Okay.
not to be confused with the hobbyist. And
fraud,
don't
not
put
fraud.
it in as Bursky. I'll be at the AC Jokes Atlantic City. When is that? Oh, Eleanor. May 30th, 31st, June 1st, 2nd. I will be there. And then Tropicana, Vegas, June 27th through July 3rd. I think I did that
You are
right.
smooth,
God damn,
I
I'm
tell you.
smooth. With a retainer. Fuck you. All right. Thank you. Bye.